because you in DC, well, you're probably a little bit heavier than DC.
Yeah, but we have like the similar
Yeah,
build in
yeah.
the sense where like the broad shoulders, like
DC doesn't want to admit it, but I'm sure you're a little more shredded than DC.
Yeah.
But what are the like the wrestling exchange? I mean, that's like because you guys are like the highest level of heavyweight wrestling. I'm sure that's got to be in a way very fun for you and also for him. I mean, he's probably getting it's the best work you can get wrestling wise. No.
Yeah, I mean, but wrestling is one thing, but when we were wrestling like MMA wrestling,
Yeah.
that was a whole nother animal. Like with that, it definitely was a tough transition to try to compete with someone at DC's level. Like you gotta imagine, like not only is he a Olympic level wrestler,
Yeah.
but he's also got that black belt level jiu-jitsu, which is pretty tough to deal with. So that MMA grappling was a whole nother beast, and that took a while to catch up to him with.
Where are you at with your jiu-jitsu?
Right now, I'm a purple belt. I do work with dudes of higher degree, but on paper, I'm a purple belt.
And how do you feel comfortable when it goes to the ground?
I feel comfortable in any part of my game because I know the time I put in. And I have great teachers. I've always had great teachers, starting out with AK with Ron Kessler, very accomplished jiu-jitsu guy, to coming home. First coming home working with Dante Rivera, UFC vet. He's a great jiu-jitsu guy. And then now I've been with Tom DeBlast for, half the year. And my jiu-jitsu's definitely have gained levels. And he has a lot of heavyweights to throw at me, which is what I like about it.
I mean, I also think that and I was kind of talking about this with Walter before, is like, there are not a lot of heavyweights that can wrestle the way you can. I mean, I could probably count them on one hand. So especially you, I mean, you're so young generally in your career, you're still a young guy. And especially for like an MMA heavyweight, you're incredibly young. What's that like for you knowing, how quickly you've developed, but also like, man, think about it, like in 2-3 years where you could be.
I'm very humble. I mean, yes, I'm young in terms of the MMA heavyweight, but soon I'll be celebrating my 30th birthday.
When's your birthday?
November 13th.
Oh shit. Well, I guess happy 6 weeks too early birthday.
Yeah, but I've been at this game for a long time, and I've been underground. Like a lot of my teammates, obviously, they live in the main light with winning national titles. That was one of my goals I wanted to accomplish in college. So things like that keep me grounded. I am not settled with what I've done so far. I want to keep going. Like I'm done looking at those highlights. I don't look back on that. I want to create more highlights. I want to do bigger things. So that's how my mind's been working. And through this whole pandemic, I've definitely gotten more spiritual and just refocused myself. So I'm just focused on accomplishing that goal, and that goal is to be a world champion.
And a world champion in UFC, correct?
Absolutely. Or whatever organization offers me the best. But I want to be recognized as the best heavyweight in the world, and that I feel like right now is the UFC title.
And I think that you and I talked. You have an awesome manager in Dave Fish. Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to Dave and all of Paradigm. But I mean, it's pretty obvious to like hardcore MMA fans like myself that watch it religiously, that know not just UFC fighters. It's very clear that like you'll be in the UFC in a matter of time. And I'm kind of wondering with you, it's like, how do you gauge, and what some of those conversations are like, how do you gauge when and if you'll be, like, do you want it to be the right time? Is there a worry like to rush yourself too quickly into it? Or do you feel ready right now?
I feel great right now with where I'm at. But I think my team puts in a lot of work with me, and I feel like for me to make the decision on my own is not doing a service to them. So I feel like when my whole team can agree on, I'm ready, because we don't want to just get there and just survive. We want to get there and blow everybody else out the water. Like I really want to take over. So we want to do this the right way, and with each opponent, obviously, I'm gaining experience, and like you said, I've definitely gained levels pretty fast. So whenever we can feel like we can get in and dominate everybody, that's when I'll be ready. And right now, I have no problem with going in the cage and lasting a minute or less.
18 seconds.
Yeah.
Is for you, do you feel like you know, when you'll be in the UFC, I mean, there's not a lot of especially now with DC retired, there's really not a lot of heavyweights that can wrestle. I mean, I can't think of any like great UFC heavyweight wrestlers. Do you feel like that's something, or that's really the approach, you know, assuming one day very soon you'll be there, that you want to go with, or is you know, because sometimes guys fall in love with their hands when they find their hands.
My approach is to attack my opponent's weakness.
Yeah.
Whatever the weakest point is, my approach is always to attack it and embarrass them and just straight up dominate them within that.
But I mean, you could wrestle your way to the top. You know that.
I could, but you know, right now I haven't really had too many people hit me hard enough to make me not want to throw punches at them. So
you feel like you're falling in love with your hands as you continue to improve the stand up?
From the start, before I even started wrestling, that's actually how I got into wrestling. And at middle school, I used to be a fighter. I wasn't bad in school, but you know, I was like a pudgy kid, and you know, the jokes led to hands being thrown, and that's kind of like what brought me to wrestling. So I feel like it's always been there. I've always been physical. I think that's what my main attribute is to my wrestling game.
Did you, when you would get into fights as a kid, was it out of, you know, anger, or like what were you like as a kid growing up?
Had the biggest chip on my shoulder.
Really? Why?
Because before I looked like this and got shredded, I was pudgy, but I had the same mentality, and kids would talk junk, and you know, I really didn't need a crowd or anybody to support me to feel my way. I was willing to take everybody on.
How many, you got into a lot of street fights when you were younger?
Yeah, a lot.
Estimate?
It was every other week I had OSS.
Oh, wow.
From like middle school to elementary. When I got to high school, I started to straighten up because, you know, when you get in trouble, you can't travel, you can't go to tournaments. I got certain things. I want to get a scholarship, so I changed my act in high school.
You had a good street fight record though?
I think so. I think, you know, probably close to undefeated.
Close to...
I didn't quit.
Yeah. Wow. But would you like wrestle them, or did you have the wrestling background at that point? Because I feel like wrestling in a street fight is even like, can't do anything to
I guess back then my thing was more like the Goldberg spear.
Yeah.
You know, the Goldberg spear, and just go right to just throwing hands.
Damn. So you had the hands before the wrestling.
Yeah.
Wow. But was it like, because you're a very like, you know, I mean, I've only known you a brief time, but you're obviously a very nice guy. Like, were you always like this, or was there like genuine kind of anger when you were younger that you felt like when those kids would tease you, like you had to show it?
I don't know. I guess I just love to compete. I want to be the best, so I guess that's what motivates me, you know. The very fact that someone else thinks they can be better at me, be better than me at something, makes me angry. So I guess that's how I channel it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram @Felix.Levine, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.